This is how I make a pallet sign. So get a pallet, and then this is how I disassemble it. Use one of my favorite tools, the Sawzall. So I've got the nails out. I've also went ahead, went over, sanded just a little bit. I mean, we're talking about pallet wood here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. For these three, and this piece here, I used a half a sheet of 60 grit. So now that I've got my boards that I know are going to be my sign, and I've made a few of these, so I kind of know the size. You might have to play around with it if you make yours. So this is going to be the front side. So what I do with this board now is I'm going to mark where I can put my back supports, basically what'll hold it together so that you don't see it. This is all pretty crude, no exact measurements needed. I'm going to take a pencil and kind of mark about where it is and make two slats the same and then drill it in. I'm going to use, I think these are 8 by a half. You can see I've got it together. Alright, so now the base coat. I'm using this because it's what I have. Here's the gloss black. It's not as shiny as I thought, which is good. So the top coat is going to be this is Valspar eggshell. Honestly, I think when I got it, it was the cheapest, but it's, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It is antique white. If you need the actual number, I can look a little closer and get it. So I'll paint over this with the antique white, and then I'll show you how I do the lettering. I do it in Microsoft Excel. Zoom out to 20 or 30%. I like to change the orientation to landscape. So now you can see the pages. So basically we're just going to put it on a bunch of pages and make it like a puzzle that we'll cut out. To do the text, I insert a text box. Now I know about the size of my pallet sign, so I know that the sign is I want it to cover about 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. Find your font or your picture, whatever. You can do this with a picture. I did it with my cornhole boards. So it's real small, so obviously we want to make that significantly larger. So because it's printed off in Excel, you can see the margins here. So now what has to happen is cut it so that it'll fit, so that everything lines up. So I've got it cut out, I've got it taped together. So now how do we get it on there? You can get this at Michael's, that's where I got it. Graphite paper. I get the larger size, 18 by 24. So it looks like this. The other hint that I have found is to use painter's tape. Another trick or another tip, when you do your trace, use a colored pen. Also, if your pen, make sure your pen works before you start tracing. You don't want to scribble on there like you sometimes do in a notepad or whatever, because it will go through. So there it is. This is the paint I'm using, just a black acrylic. I got it from Michael's also. And then, I mean, just some cheap paint brushes. Here's the first coat. I'll do one more. This is now the second coat. Just got to distress it. I'll use a sanding block and probably 60 grit paper. So there it is, distressed. You can distress it as much as you want. Actually, I did use 100 grit sandpaper. And that's it. If you want to spray it with a coat of polyurethane, that's up to you. Being that it's pallet wood and want that distressed, I don't like to put anything. I would probably say put something on it if you're putting it outside. If it's inside, it'll be just fine like that. Put your hinges or hooks or however you want to hang it, and you've got a pallet sign. Be sure to subscribe.